Today on The Harbor, we're going to hear from my friend Lacey Henderson, who is a record-holding Paralympic athlete. Lacey's going to talk to us about something that millions of American teenagers struggle with, which is our body image.
Pretty much immediately the doctors called. They said that we needed to do a biopsy because there was a light bulb-shaped tumor inside of my kneecap. The pain just kept getting worse and worse. We opted for experimental chemotherapy trials, and I was on really, really intense chemotherapy. And then I started having signs of like permanent kidney failure, permanent liver damage, and I had less than 1% tumor kill. They told us that the best option you have to save your life is to amputate above the knee. My name is Lacey Henderson, and I'm an athlete. My last day of chemo is actually on my 10th birthday, which was like kind of a weirdly poetic final good farewell to cancer, and I've been in remission ever since. I had a really interesting shift in perspective, I would say. I think after getting done with chemotherapy and being done with being sick, I was like launched to the other side of like really overinflated self-confidence. When I was sick, it basically was like, I basically watched myself deteriorate. Like I pushed my body to the point of almost death and then, found my way back. I was lucky enough to go into that with the perspective of not what does my body look like, but more of how well does it function. For a really long time, I grew up and it's almost like I had two selves. I had Lacey, who I was on the inside, my personality, my confidence, and then I had Lacey, the body. And Lacey, the body, doesn't always match up with Lacey, the person on the inside. And I think that's because, I would look at my body and I would see a defect, and I hated it. I hated that part of myself, and I wanted a body that was different than the one that I was left with. I feel like they kind of just gave me this body that I had to prove that it could do more than they had originally given it credit for. With my new body, with the new things I had to acclimate to, my parents, they didn't have the answers for me, but they were just like, Lacey, if you want something, you'll figure out a way. And that's what I did when I was playing sports growing up. And we ended up having a family friend that actually was a Paralympic coach, and he'd been wanting me to try Paralympic stuff for a while. He had talked me into doing a 100-meter race. The more I kind of looked into my times and the more I looked into what my competition would be, I realized that I really could be competitive in Paralympic sports. I also decided to start long jumping in 2013. Later in May of 2013, actually, I was able to break a 17-year-long record for long jump. So I kind of found a new place for a Paralympic sport, that fit for me, but also that was something I could work towards. The biggest thing that's working for me and the biggest thing that I like to do is I like to be curious. I always like to learn, and there's always something new. You can learn from outside of you, but you can also learn from within. The more you're curious and the more you treat yourself like someone you care and you love, the more that you'll find your strengths and the more you'll find really how you're empowered and the parts of you that that make you different, the parts of you that you weren't really sure that you liked, those really are some of your strongest assets. I don't know, the older that I get and the more intense that I get, especially leading up to this Paralympic year, the more I get really, really close. I get a really close relationship with my body and what it's telling me and what I tell it. It truly is a reflection of kind of who we are on the inside. And I think, again, that was what I struggled with when I was in high school, because I wanted so much to be separate from the things that I hated physically about myself. But at the end of the day, those are some of my greatest strengths. Your body, your mind, the MBS, the mind, body, spirit, it really is all interconnected. Your self-worth isn't dependent on one of those variables, it's all three of them. And you are worthy of love, you're worthy of success, you're worthy of all the things that you want for yourself. It's not dictated by the physical parts of you, your body, the things that make you insecure, the things that make you question yourself, because really, from within, that's where you can gather your strength. With your strengths, you can do the unimaginable. You might even be an Olympian someday.
From losing her leg as a child, all the way to representing our country and competing in the Paralympic Games, Lacey is the perfect example of not letting the limitations of her body stop her from pursuing her dreams. So for those of you struggling with your body image, remember her message and take care of your mind, take care of your body, and take care of your spirit.